right, we've got a service call here at a campaign headquarters. Look at that. All kind of big signs in the yard. Boy, this is certainly not going to be a controversial location, is it? So, not sure what the case is here, but I am told that somebody installed a new system and they won't come back and work on it. So let's go see. All right, we've got a no heating or cooling call here at a some sort of campaign headquarters. So let's go see what they got. All right, some stuff in the window here. Greenville County campaign headquarters. Good Lord. Well, this ought to be different. So y'all don't have any memorabilia or propaganda. What do you call this stuff?
Well, we got, let's see.
Good Lord, you got a lot.
You got some signs, you got flags.
Hats.
You like these flags?
Well, I try not to brand myself, you know, at work.
You gotta be careful, but now I'm feeling a little bit bolder.
At work, you know, I try not to. But I tell you what.
Take a chance with a coffee cup.
There's no question of where we're at, I would say. No question of which side of the fence we're standing on right now.
Look at that.
Man, look at all that.
Then you got some in here. You got some in here.
Good Lord.
Look at here. Look at here. You got Trump and Reagan. Then over here on this wall, we the people.
Yeah. Well, isn't that
Nice
something?
Pillows there. Got some nice pillows.
Isn't that
Shirts.
something? Oh, Lord. So y'all really do sell all this memorabilia.
Well, the folks, they just got so excited about it, you know. We got, let's see, what's going on in here? Precincts.
So this is a campaign headquarters?
Yep,
Is what y'all do?
This is it. Well, we don't really have campaign people. That has to be independent. But we support whoever wins the fight.
It's plain to see who we're supporting here. Got a statue.
Well, that's what I want to take. I want to get a picture of you and Trump out by the truck.
I don't know about that. Let's see about the heating and air. Bingo. All right.
What do you need to look at there? You need to look at the thermostat?
Well, she's dead. She ain't got no power on it.
Yeah.
So we need to see the furnace.
Okay.
And it's probably in the basement.
Yeah.
So.
And I'll show you what I know.
Or crawl space or whatever. I see some vents in the floor. Good Lord. There's your hat. I know some people like all this and some people don't. But this is where we're working today. Okay. Now that we got the introduction out of the way, let's look at the unit. I tell you, that guy there's definitely devoted to his job. I didn't really come here for all that, but as I've said before, you see a little bit of everything in the heating and air business. So let's open this up. Somebody's been in it and that screw's missing. These others are loose. Let's see what we've got. Probably no power. I'm gonna say the heat strips are probably tripping the breaker or whatever. was just gonna look and see if there was a fuse dead. And there is. So before we go sticking one in it, we need to first accept the fact that it had a reason for blowing. And this is where this Short Pro tool really comes in handy, because it'll just light up if the short is still there, and it is your best friend for finding the short too. So maybe we'll get an opportunity to demonstrate this tool. Well, it's not lit up, so that means either the short is not consistent or there's no power on the unit. One of the two. That was just loose. It wasn't hanging out to the point that I think it shorted out, but it may have. And it could be every bit as simple as that right there. It's just a wire sticking out, and really we need an orange wire nut on that instead of that blue one trying to hold 3 wires. That's okay now. This orange one is loose. It's just on the common. Sounds like the blower came on. Sure did. So we may be in delay. It may be getting ready to start back, because our Short Pro tool is not lit up, which means it's making the connection. I don't know if that was something else running or what. Let's just see if we got power. Comes the incoming butcher wire job they did. Good Lord, look at that. There's 2 breakers up here. If we can get up here and get on one of these lugs. Yeah, we got power on it. I thought that would hold my meter right there, but I guess I was wrong. Here it goes. Okay. Both legs are hot, or at least it thinks they are. One each to ground. Now let's get them both together. Yep, we got 267. That's a lot. But we have power. So now we need to determine why the fuse blew. What all this junky is stuffed in there. That looks like a compressor plug or something. By the looks of some of this, maybe not even wired up. But I don't know how you are supposed to get to any of this to service these. I mean, look at where those terminals are. Back behind all these switches. That is something else. Maybe this whole panel slides out. But you can't really get to these very well. So let's open this other side here and see if the strips are in there. By the looks of all that, they might be.
You need to mash any buttons or anything?
Nah.
Man, it even looks new, doesn't it?
Yes. It's an El Cheapo, but
Grand
it's new.
Air, heating and cooling.
Yep.
It didn't even have a label on the outside that I could see.
That's because they laid it inside there. I don't know if it fell off or what, but
Yeah, that's what all I could send you was that serial number thing. I didn't know. Boy, it does. That's clean as it can be.
it's got strips in it.
When I get so many people touching these things, I'm gonna show you something. So I guess that's good, huh?
Came on. So they showed me an invoice from somebody that tell you what, I better get this door back on so head pressure don't shoot way up. An invoice where somebody gave them a bill for charging the unit and looking for obvious leaks. That's what it said. So I don't know. It was one of those handwritten, drugstore invoices that you used to buy a pad of them and write on it. No real invoice or printed heading or anything on it. So who knows if they were just charging them for something. That compressor is hot as fire already. And it's got the opportunity to cool itself. So let's get some gauges real quick. Okay. Let's see what we're looking like. Good Lord, we might have a little too much head pressure. So I'm wondering if we got a duct sucked flat maybe, or a filter that is just completely stopped up, or something. And I knew this place would be all butchered up just as soon as I saw that junky unit they bought. That's worse than a good one. They just sell those to anybody. Whew. All I smell under there is cat pee. Full of water. That's the supply. Shoot, I don't even want to go in there. Cat's been in there peeing everywhere. Let's go inside and see what the filter looks like. Okay, so evidently what the guy wrote on his bill was correct. He did charge the unit, but he way overcharged it. Look at it now. So it's looking pretty good now. And I mean, we had 700 and something on head pressure there for a second. And I tell you what, I went and got my jug, and I did not weigh it beforehand, and I'm not going to weigh it now, but we took out a good bit. And it doesn't take much for a package unit, so we took out a good bit of pressure, I'll say. I bet you we didn't take a pound out of it. Maybe even a half a pound made that much difference. It's a small unit, but that still doesn't tell us what was blowing the fuse. I'd say we can leave the charge where we've got it now. I don't see a problem with it anymore. I don't know exactly how much I took out, and if I really wanted to nitpick this thing and get it charged exactly right, we would have to evacuate it completely and then weigh in the factory charge. And I'm just, at this point, not interested in going that far with it. I'm going to talk to them about it and figure out what they want to do. But we want to figure out what turned it off, what tripped the breaker, if the strips are working. We want to get everything working right. And we'll offer them some options. It's not near as hot as it was when it first fired up. And we may end up removing the charge and weighing in this factory charge right here. And if that's the case, then that's not a big deal. But we're going to offer them some options here before I just go doing it and running the bill up. That's just the way I operate. All right, so let's put the fuse back in it and go look at the thermostat settings. And let's see, we may just jump out some stuff from right here and see if the heat strips are an issue or if they're even functional. So let's do that before we go back inside. I'll go ahead and stick a 5 in it. Take our short pro tool and jump stuff out one at a time. And apparently there's no batteries in the thermostat because it was stuck on the enter the clock, enter the time and all that. So with that being the case, I don't think it's going to come back on. Just connecting red to yellow, we blew the fuse. So that's a little something different. Okay, I pulled the disconnect over there, and I'm gonna pull these wires off of this contactor and just check the coil on it. And when I pulled these two common wires off, look at that. So let's see what type of ohms reading we get. Okay, so after determining this contactor is definitely bad, I can see somebody's changed it before. And that's their little way of doing it. And I've snipped that off just like this. And this is just what I would rather put under the lug and not have it, you know, quite as thin. Not have it hanging out as much. Let's see what that does. Most of y'all have seen how I do it, and I just feel like that's better. But it was working the other way. I doubt that's what is causing the contactor to short it out, but I just like that better for sticking in the lug. Maybe it's just because I've done it that way for so long, and I ain't the type that likes change, so maybe that's it. But I tell myself this is better. So I'm going to put these under the lugs like that. Just lets them go in further. So that's how it looks. And this one down here, I don't think I loosened the lugs far enough to get it all the way in. Yeah, I guess I did. Must not be as much depth on this. There we go. That one doesn't want to go as far. There it goes. So, looks like we got it wired right. We'll hook the low voltage back. Yeah, they ain't got a crowd in there now. So, I changed the contactor and put the thermostat back on the wall. And now we got the 5-minute delay. And it feels like 45 minutes when you're out here waiting on it. But let's see what happens. And then we'll determine if we're getting heat strips or not. And I'm betting that thermostat is probably not even set up correctly, but it's wired right, as you saw. So we'll go through that too. Not sure I can get any more footage inside there. They are, I don't know what they're doing, rooting, tooting, and hollering and everything else. I told him, I said, man, I'm just out here as a heating and air guy. I'm not really trying to put on hats or anything else. Not at work. I feel like that ought to be separate, but it's so doggone controversial nowadays to where you just about can't talk about anything. Certainly can't talk back and forth across the aisle. And I wish that wasn't the case, but that's the reason I work on air conditioners. I can fix them. Anytime now. All right, she's running. Let's walk back inside and see if the crowd died down any. I don't know what they stirring up about in here. Don't they know he's done already won and there's nothing else to argue about? I don't. I think people ought to just put their vote in and go on about their life, and don't live for controversy and all this kind of stuff. Everybody wanting to stir up everything they can. Tell you what, there's a couple of cars gone, so maybe they chilled out in there. We'll go find out. I'm gonna close this up. They got an extension cord coming out the window, going to this power strip. Some kind of little old heated thing right there. I don't know if there's maybe a person that gets under here and sleeps out of the cold, or if that's for the cats or what, but hey, sure enough, got it there for something. A little old cat house right there. Ain't none of my dadgum business, so I'm gonna get out of here before the wrong kind of customer sees my truck here and thinks I'm in here getting in the middle of all the stuff. And I tell you what, I don't have time for all that. Like I say, I go in there about every 2 years or 4 years and cast my vote for what I think's best, and then I go home and live my life. There's a few people that get a little too jacked up about it, in my opinion. I don't know who that is for the school board they had back there. Let's check the AC and the heat both before we leave. Well, that was fun. There's a lot going on in a place like this. I would have never known that, but who knows that you're ever going to get called to a political headquarters to make a repair. But there's heating and air conditioning everywhere. Good people, bad people, crazy people, fat people, tall people. It's all the same to me. So without getting all opinionated and stuff, we're going to go on to the next call. I appreciate you watching.